Mesachta Menochos. We're starting a new Pedek Shvi Eila Menochos Nikmatzes, and we're starting now from the Mishnah. Zok the Mishnah. Okay, here we go. Zok the Mishnah. Ve'elu Menochos Nikmatzes. These are the Menochos that they do a kmitza. V'shiyirehem nachon lakanim, and the leftovers are eaten by the kahanim. Minchas haselis, the mincha from selis. What's the mincha selis? So mincha selis, you do the kmitza after you mix it with the shaman. Then they make the kmitza, but before they bake it. That's mincha selis. Machvas is the frying pan that the mincha comes out hot. Hard. Machesh is a deep pan, so it's soft, and the kmitza is done after it's baked. Okay, the chalos and the wafers of a mincha of a mafetano, mincha sevet kechom, a mincha from a goy that he gives it as a neder and a dova. We learned that from the pasuk ish. So the extra word ish comes to tell you that even a mincha of a goy could be sacrificed in the Beis Hamikdash. A minchas nashim, a mincha from nashim that a woman brings, a mincha sa'ima, the mincha that we're talking about, the mincha of Eima, the Eima is brought from Sa'idim, from barley. Or minchas chayta, on the minchas chayta where there's no oil or levena mixed with it. Or minchas kanayis is the minchas saita, which is the second carbon that's also brought from Sa'idim, but dry, nothing mixed with it. The same thing as like the minchas chayta. Eima is also brought from Sa'idim, but Eima is belul b'shaman. But the minchas chayta, the minchas kanayis is chareven, is dry. We'll soon see. Reb Shimon Aima minchas chayta shel kahanim nikmetzes. A minchas chayta of kahanim there's kemitza. The hakoymetz karel le'atzmei v'asherayim came le'atzmam. The koymetz is done on its own.
Everything's for him.
And the shirayim goes to the Eibishter also. Verbrennt. But he says that the kemitza le'atzmei, but it's even that's only according to Reb Shimon. According to Tanakama, there was no kemitza. Since the whole thing goes on the Mizbeah, side the Kmitza, side the Shirayim, so there's no Machnishkin zwei Bazunder Sachen. We don't make two separate things, Kmitza and then the Shirayim on the Mizbeah. According to Reb Shimon, yes, it's zwei Bazunder Sachen. There's two separate things. There's the Kmitza and the Shirayim. Aber Papa had said, Kol Eichen de Tanan. Wherever we learn in the Mishnah the dinim of the Menochos, the machvas, like in our Mishnah, the order of the Menochos, the ala minchas, you should know it's eset nan. There's only 10. In fact, what do you come to teach us? To exclude from Rabbi Shimon, the Rabbi Shimon said, he says that you could even bring in one mincha half of 3 times. Half of chal, very good. You remember? My dear else is as even a castle. It's up you like 100%. You said you can have half and half. Yeah, you can bring. So according to Reb Shimon, our mission doesn't go according to Reb Shimon, because that's another type of a mincha. There's mincha. There's chalis separate. There's rikikin separate. And if you learn like Reb Shimon, mechza, then it's 11.
It's more than 10.
It's more than 10. That's what our Mishnah is excluding. The lafukri to exclude from Reb Shimon, who says you can do mechza chalis, mechza rikikin. So kamash mal in the light. That's fine. Okay. Okay, you ready? V'shirayim, we learned in the Mishnah that the shirayim, after the kmitza, who gets to eat the shirayim? Not just the chassidim, the shirayim, the kahanim. Shirayim la kahanim. The shirayim after the kmitza goes to the kahanim. In fact, you don't know from where do we learn out that the shirayim after the kmitza goes for the kahanim to eat? It says Gemara, but no long. The chsiva, it says beferish le'teira avas. They said it's b'mani yoichlu ha'aron uvanov. It says beferish that the leftover from the kmitza goes to the kahanim. Says Gemara ksiva, udeloi ksiva, and even those menachos where it doesn't say befurish that the shirayim go to the kahanim, ksiva v'zeis toiras amincha. on this pasuk that says that Noiseres go to the Bnei Aaron, it says this is the din by mincha. Toiras means all menachos. So his Toiras is one Torah achas, one din lekol menachos for all the menachos. That every menacha that needs kmitza, and those any menacha that needs a kmitza, the shirayim go to the kahanim. So the Gemara says, on which mincha did you have Yeshayla? Lepel Mamshi is, where do we learn now that the shirayim, that the kahanim could eat it? Which one are you talking about? So he says, if it's ba'achitin, if menachas that are from the ingredients of wheat, like kameh, that's not a shayla. We have a clear makkah. Ki kameh, where was the shayla? B'se'edim, by a mincha that's made from barley. There's two minchas that are made from barley. The mincha sa'ima and the mincha of aseita. They're made from barley. So where do we know there the shrine goes to the kahanim? So the Gemara, what? Ba'asedim, just because they come from Sedim. Nami minedek metzes, since there's a kemitza, shira lakanim. It automatically goes to kahanim. What's the shayla? So the Gemara, according to the Rabbanan, loikum ebaylan. We have no shayla. That the minchas oima and the minchas seita is kmitza, and every mincha that has kmitza, the shirayim go to kahanim. Ki kameh bayilai, I live with Rab Shimon. The Amma, you remember Rab Shimon said, Ike mincha. We said there's a rule, whenever there's kmitza, automatically the shirayim go to the kahanim. But Rab Shimon says there is a place where the shirayim don't go to the kahanim. Like a minchas chayta, they said, we'll break it up. Even the kmitza will go to the Eibishter, and the shirayim will go to the Eibishter. But the Tanna Kama says no such a thing. If everything goes to the Eibishter, there's no stock in kmitza.
You don't need a kmitza.
The Tanna Kama holds whenever there's a kmitza, the shirayim go to the kahanim. By the minchas chayta, we said, Rab Shimon says, a minchas chayta is koyen, of a koyen. That he says there's a kmitza and the shirayim. The Tanna Kama says no such a thing. We bowed, since everything is going on the mizbeach, we're not going to separate it. So you don't tell me because there's a kmitza, the shirayim have to go to the kahanim. There's no kmitza. So, Rab Shimon says there is.
So you can't see a cloud going over the minchas.
So according to Rabbanan, you can make the cloud. Any mincha that is a kmitza, the shirayim go to the kahanim. But according to Rab Shimon, no, there's a kmitza and the shirayim don't go. But the Tanna Kama says that's not a case where there's a kmitza. The Tanna Kama says everything goes in one shot.
There's no kmitza at all?
No kmitza at all. So if the kasha was only, I lived there, there's a mincha de mikamtza, but le misachla. And the shayim are not eaten by the kahanim. Where? The time that we learned in the Mishnah. Rab Shimon said in our Mishnah, minchas chayta shel kahanim. A mincha that kahanim had sinned, they have to bring a mincha. He says there's nikmetzes, there's a kmitza, nikmetzes hakoyrev, I'm sorry, nikmetzes, hakoymetz karev la'atzmei, shirayim kareven. And the shayim also go on the mizbech. It's not eaten by the kahanim. So according to Rab Shimon, so Menochos, so we're asking Rab Shimon. So where do you know by? How do you know according to his sheet that the shirayim of minchas eimah and minchas seita go to the kahanim? They're made of se'idim. You have the place?
Yeah.
We're up to Amachizkiah.
I'm watching Bensi.
Amachizkiah is from the bottom line. I don't know, you're looking in the English part?
I see, it's the same as it.
Okay, Amar Chizkiah. Chizkiah had said, the makar is the Amar, that we want to know, where is the makar, by the Minchas Oima and Minchas Seita, that the Shirayim go to the Kahanim. According to Reb Shimon. He says, Amar Kra, it says in the Pasuk, Chol Mincha, Belulav Hashem, and B'chareva, L'chol B'nei Arantiyah. Every mincha that's mixed with oil, and also the dry mincha, goes to all the children of Aaron. Now, we already know every mincha the shirayim go to the kahanim. Says the Gemara, if we don't need the pasuk of chitin mixed with shemen, that the shirayim go to the kahanim, because we had already a pasuk of Vahanu says from the previous pasuk. So what do we need? The chol mincha again? This pasuk neyu inyan lebelula shel seirin. He's come to tell you by Sa'idin, even by Sa'idin, which is mixed with oil, the Shayim go to the Kahan. Now, this pasuk also tells you about the dried chitim, like we said, a minchas chayta is dry. There's no oil. There's no spices.
Can be fancy.
But so we have a pasuk for charei v'shalchitin. So why do we need this pasuk again? So he says no inyan lacharei v'shal se'oidin. That even by se'oidin, which is dry, which carbon is brought from barley and it's dry, the minchas soita, the one that the husband accused her for being alone with the man. She doesn't want him again. She gives him the warning.
The flavor or nothing.
Right, says the Gemara. So that's what we learn now from this extra pasuk, that for those two menachos, for the oima that's made from soirin and the minchas chayta v'koyin, which is made from soirin, that the shirayim go to the kahanim. You're saying the pasuk mincha is coming to teach us that? Tanya. We need for different limud. How do we know we cannot make exchange menachos for zvachim? For a carbon, how do we know we can't change a carbon mincha for a carbon for a flour for meat?
He decided to have a korban. He decided to have a korban.
He says, let's say you like the bread better, or sometimes chicken for meat. There's oifis that are brought. So people like schnitzel better than meat, than steak. They make exchange. So bread more than this. You know the famous stories. Listen. Yeah, it's the first guy you meet. Mach business with them, and you'll have a lot of money for. So mach chasen for the kinder.
I have given the bracha.
I have given the bracha. The erste business deal that you come across, take it, and you'll make the money that you need for the chasnas. Okay, he says, I can't even scratch 2 nickels together. So the Rebbe is giving a ruble, and he goes in the street, and he's trying to say, you have a business you want to sell? For how much? He says, 1 ruble. So one guy says, I would sell you my Allah for a ruble. He says, okay. That's the first business deal. He bought it. I come to him and he tells his wife, this person, I made a ruble for nothing. I sold my Elam Abba. So the wife says, I'm going to you with you, Lamaila. I'm your partner. The fakivs the seichet, get out of my house. I don't want to have you here. He said, you love Nachem. And he tried to buy back the Elam Abba. He says, no. Want it back? 400 rubles. That's what my expense is now. So 400 rubles. You bought it for 1 ruble. And the Rebbe says, listen, you sold it wholeheartedly. You thought that's the nishvat afil ruble, that's the fakev. So nishkin yoisem ishtus that you sold it a mekach toys. You thought that's all you're worth. You thought that's what your elam is. So you sold it. You hated fakevt. So he had to pay the 400 ruble to get it back. So he made his money. You see, the first business. Here, we're making exchange. It says every mincha that's baked in the oven, to all the bnei Aaron, ish ke'achim. What does it mean?
So when the Rebbe gives $1, you make money.
Yeah. If you use it. It's mashma. All the kahanim should take a part in the mincha. Not one coin should take a bigger part and another coin should take a smaller part. Let's say the carbon comes with a mincha mityayin. Everybody gets a drop from the leftovers. Okay. I would have thought you can't exchange a mincha for meat because we don't find mincha by a regular by a regular carbon. It only goes down from a behema to a oif, but it doesn't go down from a oif to a mincha. So how do you know you can make exchange for a mincha for a oif?
Mincha is cheaper than an oif.
Yeah. So he says, look, I would say a menachsi can because because you don't find that you can go down to a mincha, right? But I would say, a mincha for a oif, you can make exchange. Why? We find those menachas that you bring as a carbon oif, right? Because of your poorness. By a carbon oif, you know, so oila, for reicha is oila, and for the honey is yedet. So there we find that you bring oifes, but if you don't even have dalis, if he doesn't even have money for a oif, he can bring a mincha. Oh, so you could go down to a mincha, so maybe you could exchange a mincha for schnitzel. Talmud Lema, v'chol nas ma'cheshes, l'chol b'nei arantiyah. L'chol b'nei arantiyah comes to teach us, no, you can exchange portions. I would have thought, you know why you can't change mincha for mincha for bird? Because halalu minei damim, halalu minei kmachin. The oif is becomes mutter through blood, putting the blood on his bayah. But by the flour is burning the kaimets. It's two different categories, so you can't make the exchange. But yachleku oif is connected to zvachin. But maybe you could change schnitzel for steak, right? Oif for zvachin. Because they both become mutter through blood. So we learn now from this pasuk that this minchas machvas is extra. This pasuk to tell us, no, you can't change schnitzel for steak.
You can't.
No. So
It's not the same value.
no, there's no changing. Your pasuk says you can't change monies. You can't change portions. He says, you know why you can't change a chicken for steak? Because the chicken, the kohen did malika.
Oh,
By a steak is mitakela mitamesa.
Different.
And so it's like a nevela. Menochos connect Menochos. I'll tell you, a mincha for a mincha, you can make exchange. By both, the kmitza is done with the hand. That even a mincha for a mincha, you cannot exchange it. Okay, says Gemara, I hear you. If one mincha for a different mincha, you can. I would have thought, look, you can exchange a mincha of a machvas for a macheshes. Why? Macheshes connected to machvas or macheshes for a machvas. Because shazu, the minchas machvas, maser koshin, it's a hard wafer, it's hard matzah, like buying matzah here or in Borough Park. Here you break your teeth, over there it's crunchy.
You give a break for the dentist.
Yeah, you give money for the dentist. The zoom maser rakin. But if it's made in a deep pan, then you have soft matzahs. Says the Gemara side. There I would say you can't make the exchange because they're different matzahs. But you could change maybe the same Crown Heights matzah for the other Crown Heights matzah, right? The machesh can make machesh. Yeah. Or machesh can make machesh. Huh? Beiden nicht essen. Or a machesh can make macheshes. Talmud Lema comes the pasuk and tells us that this yitu of v'chareva has come to tell you, even of the same sug mincha, the same category of mincha, you can't make exchange. Remind me to tell you the story with Reb Chaim and the matzahs. I want to know if I'll have time. I'll say it.
Okay.
I would have thought you can exchange one carbon keneged another carbon bekachim kachim. That's only like kachim kachim. Kachim kachim is the chatos, the oila, the ashon. Those are kachim kachim. Shlomim nish shamatziba. Shamatziba is a kachim kachim. Shlomim toida. These are kachim kalim. Says but mincha and menacha is a kachim kachim. So I said, I would have thought, oh, you know why a mincha and a mincha cannot be exchanged? Kachim kachim. Ava yachlu with kachim kalim. I would have thought when it comes to shlomim to exchange for a taida, they're both in the category of kachim kalim. Maybe yeah. Talmud Lema comes to the pasuk and says ish ke'achiv, and next to that it says imal taida. So from this that the taida compared the carbon of taida, which is kachim kalim, and put it next to the pasuk of kachim kachim, is to teach us, this is called hekesh. When you have one next to the other, you learn out one from the other.
So
that's shekshem shein cholkim bekachim kachim. Just like you cannot make an exchange when it's by kachim kachim, kach ein cholkim bekachim kalim. So too, you can't make an exchange by kachim kalim. It's like a hekesh, we compare. Says the Gemara, from this that it says by the portions of kachim like kahanim, it says ish, right? So what's ish coming to tell you? Ish chelek. A ish gets a portion. A kohen who's a ish, an adult, even if he has a mum, he gets a portion from the kabbalah. But a cotton who's nishken ish, even if he has no blemishes, he's a tom, he still doesn't get a chelik. Okay, So it's the Gemara. So
So what does it mean? If
So-
it was his foot, it's a child from a
it's
cave.
a child. So he gets from his father. He doesn't get a separate portion for as a cut.
As for the coat.
As from the Kama, he's a separate person. It's nicht kein Mensch, it's a cut. Okay, as Petchke flesh. Anyway, so what does he say over here? So when we see the Mincha was used that you can't make exchange for the Kabbanis. So how do you say the Mincha is coming to tell us by Mincha Sema and Mincha Seita that the Shiraim go to the Kahanim? That pussy we needed that you cannot make exchanges between Kabbanis. I mean, between two Kahanim, their portions, one with another. They cannot make an exchange. And the Ahumi Kol Nafka. He says the Kol at the beginning of the pasuk. It says V'chol Minchas Belula. That teaches us that you can't make an exchange. But the drasha of Chizke we learn out from the rest of the pasuk. Mincha Belula V'Shem V'Chareva. In fact, we learned the Kol, the word Kol as Exeda Shava by Rabbi Yehuda. It says what? Kol Mincha Sheteov Betana, that's one Kol. And it says V'chol Mincha Belul V'Shem V'Chareva to tell us, just like a Mincha Belul V'Shem and V'Chareva, there are two different Menochos, and you can't bring, he wants to tell you, you cannot bring Machzis, a half, which is Belula or Machzis Chareva, right? We learn out from there, just like by a regular Mincha, you can't bring half. 5 chales should be mixed with oil, and 5 should be dry. From there, we learn out that you can't bring half chales and half rikikin. That's what we needed with Kol, to learn out one from the other. Just like you cannot make a mixture of 5 chales dry and 5 chales mixed with oil. So for the Kol that tells us by chales and rikikin, you cannot mix chales and rikikin. It's either 10 chales and 10 rikikin. So what do we learn now? This drasha of Rabbi Yossi that you cannot mix. Vichol, from the vav of vichol, that teaches us the extra vav that you cannot mix half and half. Okay. So the Gemara that the Kahanim eat the shirayim of the Mechasayim and Mechasanois. Asim the Tani Levi. He learns it out from somewhere else. From Levi learned in the Braisa, the Tani Levi. Levi learned with the gate to the Matnas Kehuna. There's 24 Matnas Kehuna. It says lekol kabanim, lekol ulekol minchas, ulekol chatasam, ulekol hashamim. It says so many times ulekol asher yashuvali. So these yiturim, each kol comes to tell us another drasha. The first kol is written by kabanim. Kol kabanim. What does it come to tell us? Ladabis loik shaman shamatzeda. Loik shaman is a carbon. He calls it kol. He wants to tell us kol kabanim is called because it says vehikiv oisil hasham ves loig hashemen. It says vehikriv. So we know loig hashemen is a carbon. So by Matzeda, what did they do? Chutz from the carbon itself, they sprayed 7 times of oil. Then they put on the nucha oizen, they put on the thumb and the boyin ragloi, and then there was leftover shemen. Who did the shayim of the lug of shemen go to? To the kahanim. That's what we need the first chol. I would have thought, when did we say shirayim go to the kayin? Only something that goes on a fire, so that's burned. So the leftover that didn't go on the fire goes to the kayin. But shemen doesn't go on the fire. Kamash Malon comes the pasuk and tells us, Kol, that even in the leg of shemen that doesn't go on the fire, the shirayim goes to the kayin. Lechol min chasim, the second lechol, Arabis min chasayim, Amir Skanos. He says this is where he learns it out. He says from the second lechol, tells us that Amir Chasayim, Amir Skanos, that the shirayim go to the kayin. That's where he learns it out. Not from the pasuk v'chol min chamachlas, that whole pasuk. Says you want to sell to Gatayt Chamin. I would have thought that only what kind of a mincha does the shirayim go to the kahanim? Only as such kabbanis that's mechaper on aveda. But the mincha sa'ima lahatakasya is only coming to be mated in tvur chadasha, to be able to eat it. It's not a kapara. So I would have thought the shirayim should not go to the kain. The idach nami, and also minchas kanoas, is also to be mater, the woman to go back to her husband if she comes out clean. Levar kasya. It's coming to be mavare if she did the aveda. So it's not to be mechaper, kamash malan, even though it's not lekapara, the shirayim go to the kahanim. What is the chol chatasim coming? The Rav is chatzaif to tell you that even by a chatzaif, the shirayim of a bird goes to the Kahanim. Salkadat Chamina, I would have thought the shraim of a bird should not go to the Kohen. Why? Because how is it slaughtered? With a nail by its back. It kills it, breaks its spine. So Neveli, I would have thought it's a Neveli. He doesn't get to eat it. Kamash Malon, no, he does get to eat it, and he gets to eat the shraim, the Kahanim. Ulachol Hashama, what is the Chol Hashama coming? L'Rabis Asham Nazir. Asham Nazir, if a Nazir became tummy in the middle of the counting, he has to start all over. He has to bring a korban, and he has to bring called the Asham.
Also 30 days, not more than that, right?
Minimum 30 days, yes. If he says Stam Nazidus is 30 days. But in the middle of the 30 days, he's not allowed to become tummy. He's not allowed to drink wine. He's not allowed to cut his hair. If he did any of these things, he has to start all over. And he has to bring Asham Nazir. That left over of the Asham goes to the Kohen. Asham Mitzvah. And also Asham, that when the Mitzvah becomes cured, he brings a Asham to be able to go out and come back to the Machna and everything. Says the Gemara, Asham Mitzvah. What are you telling me about Asham Mitzvah? It says Befedish that it goes to the Kahanim. Ki kachatas ha'asham hulakayin. It says that the like a chatas the asham is, and by a chatas the shayim go to the kahanim. So of course the asham also. Well, he says he didn't mean to include asham etzayra. When he said l'chol is coming to include l'chol asham is coming to include asham nazir, he didn't mean va'asham etzayra. He says asham nazir just like asham etzayra that the shayim is eaten by the kahanim. El Rabbis asham nazir ka asham etzayra. That it has a din like Hashem Mitzvah that the leftovers go to the Kahanim. So you want to talk to Dr. Chamina? I would have thought to say no, he shouldn't get, because this carbon lahashikasi. It's only coming to be mashid and nozit to start counting again. It's not coming to be mechaper. Kamash Malon, nevertheless, he gets to eat from the shrine. So it says Asher Yoshivu Zegezel Ager. It says if somebody stole from Ager and he lied, made a shur sheker, he never stole from him, and then he came and he was Maida. He has to pay Keren v'Chemesh. But the Geir died when he came to pay. So who does the money go to? The Kahanim. Says Gemara lecho hu ulevanacho shalcho hu ulevanacha afilu lekavs beis isha. That the Kohen gets it, and you know how much he gets it. It's mamish like Zayna Pravata Geld, his own money. He can be Mekadosh Isha with that money that he inherited, that he got it from the Geir for this guy lying, and the Geir died. I'm going to have Avuna said, Shalmei Oivdei Kechavim Eilis. The Shalmei Oivdei Kechavim, Bechlal Ashlamim, part goes to the Balabas Essen, half, and part, the Chalavim, and the Hevarim go to on the Mizbeach. But he says, when a goy gives it, it's a oila. All of it goes to the Mizbeach. He buys the same, why? He says, he buys the same Akrav, he buys the same Svara. Either it's a Pasuk or a Svara. He buys the same Svara. Oivdei Kechavim, Libel HaShemayim. A goy, weiß nicht von, like we have Shabbos, Tainuk Shabbos, that we can have our Noah Begashbis. He says the only way to get close to Hashem, it's Chaveg Gem Alz Tzedei, like no pleasures. Like a nun is considered a woman who's not married, she's closer to Chleisvas. But so they don't know for nothing. Everything is Lashamayim. That's a svara. If I say a crow or a pasuk, it says Asher Yakrivu LaHashem Lo'ila. It says we learn out that pasuk that lets us that we learn out that a goy could bring a carbon is from the pasuk ish ish. It says double ish, and the end of the pasuk is Asher Yakrivu LaHashem Lo'ila. So it all has to go to Hashem. Call the Makrivu Lo'ila. Everything that they goyim hamakam is mazra mecham bagoya. Every chacham sheisnad lehavi la'asham shlamim. Nisan Yisrael leichlam. Nisan lekoyin hakoyin leichlam. Avcham asks, what are you talking about? You said every carbon that a koyin brings, it goes all to Hashem. Here we have a befedish beraisa that says if a goy gave to a yid to be makam the carbon, he gets to eat part of it. If it's a koyin who was makam for him, he gets to eat part of it. You said all of it, what a guy brings, all of it goes Lashamayim. Amarava Hachkama. This is the pshat. Amanashe Iskaper Bohem Yisrael. He didn't do it for himself. He gave that the Yid should be able to be forgiven with his money. That he's given, that he should be able to buy a carbon to get forgiven. So then Yisrael Leichel, it's like Yisrael is bringing it. Amanashe Iskaper Bakoyin. He gave it to the Koyin that the Koyin should have a behemoth to get kapara. So it says if it's for the kohen leichlin, the kohen eats it. Masiv Rashizvi Elam Menachos Nikmatz B'Shirein LaKahanim Michas Eved Gechavim. Gemara asked again. Our Mishnah says there are menachos that there's a kmitza and the shirayim go to the kohen, and which one was one of the menachos that they said that the shirayim goes to the kohen? Minchas Eved Gechavim. Our Mishnah. What are we going to answer? Am Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan answered Lo Kasha. Ha Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Ha Rabbi Akiva. He says our Mishnah is Rabbi Yossi Aglili that says it goes to the Shiraim go to the Kahanim, and the Braisa that says it all goes to Lashamayim is Rabbi Akiva. The Tanya that we learned from the Braisa, Ish. It says the double Lashon Ish. The Rabbi says that a goy could be Magdash a Neder or a Nedava. Neder is Harei Zu. So if it gets stolen, you can't. Then you can't. Which one? By a Neder is.
A Neder is
Harei Alai. That's right. So he can be. So if he gets stolen, right?
Yeah.
So he has to replace it. It's a lie. But by a Nadavar, he said it is Zu, so this is the only one that he can bring. If he gets stolen, he doesn't bring another one. Anyway, Bekitzer, he can bring a Nadavar with us, Asher Yakiv Hashem, Loila, that he can be Makov Hashem, Eli Ela Oila. We only know that a Oila, he can bring a Oila, Shlomim Menayim. How do we know he brings a Shlomim? Tamad Leima Nidreim. Comes the Pasuk and tells us Nidreim, including a Shlomim, because a Kavan Shlomim is brought as a Neder. It's okay. How do we know the Toida Menayin? How do we know the Daves? So he says Toida Menayin says Tamalim and Dvaisam. How do you know a couple Toida? Because a Toida Nidvaisam is Maba Toida because it's brought as an Adava. Menayin Labis Saifes. How do we know we can include birds, Oilas Ha'if, or Vahayayin, Vahalavina, Vahaitzim, that wine, spices, and wood that a guy could also bring? How do we know he can bring all these items? Tamad Leima Nidreyem. Lechol, so Nidreyem is without Lechol, but it says Lechol Nidreyem. And by Nidvaisam it says Lechol Nidvaisam. So it's coming to include the birds, the wine, the spices, and the wood. In fact, Tamad Leima Ayla. What is the pasuk coming to tell us with the extra word Ayla? And the Gemara Ayla Pratlin Nazirus. A guy cannot bring a covenant nazir. Divid Rabbi Yossi Aklili. So it seems like a guy is not allowed to become a nazir, of course. Rabbi Akiva Hashem Akiva Hashem lo Eila, Ainli Ela Eila Bavad, that he can only bring a Eila, no other carbon. So you have a machlekes between Rabbi Yossi Aklili and Rabbi Akiva. If a guy can bring all kinds of kabanes, or only Eila. Rabbi Akiva says only Eila. Says you might have a high pratel nazirus. This that Rabbi Yossi Aklili said Eila 745. 745. Right, Pratlin is Mehachanafka. The Pratlin is we learn it out from him, Mahasam Nafka. We learn it out from a different pasuk. It says Dabe Obnei Yisov Amat Alem Ish Ki Yafli Lindo Neida Nozel Hazir. So it says only who can do that? Dabe Obnei Yisov. Only Bnei Yisov. Bnei Yisov Neida. So what do I need the word Oila to exclude Nazirus? That a guy cannot become a nazir, says Gemara in Mahasam. If I would have only learned from the dasha of Rabbi Yossi Aglili, from the word Oila Havamina Karmu Deloilaisi, he cannot bring a carbon nazir. The carbon itself, Aval Nazirus Chalalai, but if he makes a neder of Nazirus that he's going to grow his hair, he has to stick to it. Kamash Malan. That's why this pasuk, Dabe Abnei Yisrael, that even the neder he doesn't have to stick to because a guy cannot become a nazir. Says Gemara Kman Nazir Haditnan. Like whom does this following Mishnah follow? 7 things the Bezdin was mesakim b'negeya to Kabanis. And this was one of the takanas. Which one? The main nesachah. A guy that sent a oila from Medina Sayam together with money for the wine, for the nesachim. Krevim mishalai. He can bring the oila with nesachim. If he only sent money for a behema, no money for wine, krevim mishal tzibur. Then we take from the money from the tzibur because you can't bring the oila itself without a nesachim. So the tzibur adds, so there shouldn't be a sinner for the goyim. In fact, you want to label Rabbi Yossi Aguli that Anachi brings also yain and nesachim, like Rabbi Akiva. So it doesn't go like Rabbi Akiva, because Rabbi Akiva says the only thing he can bring is yain. I'm sorry, oila, no
Yeah, but
nesachim.
go bring yayin, look, yayin, that's for sure.
Yeah, it means that he's not bringing money
He's asking.
and using his money for the nesachim. It says, you could say it's even Rabbi Akiva. Oila bechol chaveta. It means he can only bring as a behema, as a oila, and everything that comes with the oila, and everything that's escorted with the oila, which is nesachim. Says who's the Tana of this that the Rabbanim learned? Kola Ezrach. It says Yaser Koches Ela. Ezrach maybe in the Nesachim. Only a Yisrael brings in the Nesachim. Maybe in the Nesachim, but a guy cannot bring the Nesachim. Says Gemara Yachalei Tehei Ela Seitun in the Nesachim. I would have thought oila of a guy doesn't need Nesachim. Tamalema Kocha, no. Kocha, that when you bring oila, all oilas, dafka into the nesachim, and you cannot bring it without wine. In fact, you want a money. Who's it following? Lo Rabbi Yossi Aguli, lo Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yossi Aguli, ma'afilo yayin nami. You're saying only a ezech maybe nesachim. Rabbi Yossi Aguli says even the goy can bring nesachim, so it's not Rabbi Yossi Aguli. Rabbi Akiva, if it's Rabbi Akiva, ha'ma'ila in midachin and loy. Rabbi Akiva says he can only bring oila and nothing else. And here it says he brings a witness achim. And you want to buy same Rabbi Yossi Aguli, buy same Rabbi Akiva. It could be say Rabbi Yossi Aguli and say Rabbi Akiva. Ibai same Rabbi Yossi Aguli. We could say it follows Rabbi Yossi Aguli. How? Sami mahi yayin. Take out the word wine. In the Braisa it says but that only a yid brings nesachim and a goy doesn't. Don't say it's yayin nesachim. Learn mincha nesachim, but not yayin. So from yayin take, it cannot be. Yayin could be brought. According to Rabbi Yossi Aguli, and it can follow Rabbi Yossi Aguli because he's not talking about wine. If you want, you can say it's Rabbi Akiva. And when Rabbi Akiva said you have to bring a oila alone, it means the chol chavita with all those things that come with the oila. There's a famous story with Reb Chaim Brisker. He baked matzahs. He baked matzahs. You listening?
Yeah.
And he came out of the bakery and he was so mesupik. Yeah, kosher, nish kosher. He's going with his matzahs. He worked the whole day. You know how hard it's to work a whole day. And he comes out with a whole bunch of doubts. And he sees one of his students, and he's walking so happy with the matzahs. He says, "No." He asked Reb Chaim asked him, "No, wie is deine matzahs?" He says, "Meine matzahs, excellent, mitzuyan." And he's so happy. He says, "My matzahs." He says, "Wann weißt du?" He says, "Because the Eibishter hat geholfen. I'm sure that it should be good matzahs." He says, "Oh, okay. Efshir willst du umbeiten the matzahs? Maybe you want to switch?" He says, "Sure." Chaim's matzah, sure. He switches matzahs, and he comes back. Chaim comes back to his father. and says, "Hi, yo, habe ich the best of matzahs." He says, "How do you have it?" He says, he tells him the story that he baked matzahs with full of sveikas. He saw his Talmud, and his Talmud says, "Seine matzahs, seine good, weil der Sicher der Eibishter hat ihm geholfen." He says, "Oi hat the gute matzahs." He says, "Der Eibishter hat ihm gut geholfen. Er hat dich gekocht deine matzahs." That's why.